Some of the most ancient legends from around the world center on stories involving the myth of dog-like humanoids, terrorizing small towns and devouring livestock in a few bites. From ancient legends surrounding that of wolfmen to the more recent myths surrounding strange cases of werewolves, there has never been a shortage of witness accounts and stories surrounding what can only be described as the werewolf species. For years, people have been reporting these mysterious humanoids, and interestingly, many of these accounts tend to share a lot in common. Many of these werewolf creatures have been reported from across the world, but after studying these accounts, researchers were able to single out locations where these creatures are reported the most. Werewolves are able to physically morph back into humans, and is said to be the result of a mutant combination of human and wolf. One photograph that makes the rounds every so often is this one. It's said to show a werewolf that succumbed to some kind of injury. The picture was captured by hikers and fishermen who weren't sure of what the creature was. As they went back for a closer look, they could tell it was no longer alive. It's reported that one of the men poked the animal with their fishing rod, but they got no response. After this, they uploaded the images of the creature to the internet, where various people gave their opinions on what they thought the creature could be. Interestingly, although many people were skeptical, others couldn't work out what this animal was. One individual said the following: "Based on the body and teeth, it's a large cat, most probably a mountain lion or a bobcat. The body looks just like a shaved cat that's about to undergo surgery, and the teeth, especially the canines, come in more at an angle." Another user went on to say the following: "By the fur colour, it's a werewolf. Bears do not have grey fur, they have brown. Bears don't have teeth like this. They're too sharp, and werewolf's teeth are slightly more yellow than that. The long neck and muscles, including its biceps, proves it's a werewolf." While another person backed up this claim by saying the following: "I've been studying this topic for years, and I believe that what these people discovered was in fact a genuine werewolf. For some time now, these bodies have been discovered in various places across our planet, but every time they get tested or more information needs to be collected, they mysteriously vanish, never to be seen again. I think that's what we're seeing here. Some have said that it's just a bear who's been in the river for some time, but I disagree. The teeth are more werewolf-like. Although the jaw and teeth do look similar to a mountain cat, this can be ruled out by the muscle definition and neck. Others, however, disagree with this idea, and say that this creature is a bear or a mountain cat. As of right now, there's not much information on this photograph. Interestingly, there's been stories of werewolves that have been passed down over the years. Perhaps one of the most famous ones is that of Hans the Werewolf. Known as the legend of Hans the Werewolf, one of the strangest trials to ever have taken place in the country of Estonia, centered around the prevalent werewolf and witchcraft trials of 1651. According to a number of key Estonian documents, there was an increase in werewolf attacks that ravaged villages all across the country, and led to actual witch hunts, werewolf trials and claims that would be used as political agendas to take some of the assets of others, and gain power via false information of political opponents. Though it's widely accepted that many involved in these trials were those of innocent people, as reported, werewolf attacks continued following their trials and sentencing. One case that stands out the most for evidence of true werewolf involvement is known as the case of Hans the Werewolf. Only 18 years old, a young man by the name of Hans was known throughout his town as a hermit, of whom lived a sad and lonely life. Many historians believe that it was perhaps due to this isolation that he was made a prime suspect in a recent werewolf attack. Authorities in the region eventually tracked him down, forcing him into a trial and investigation he'd not been aware of the slightest. After entering the trial, it became apparent that the judge responsible for the trial was not interested in pursuing the case, and believed it to be nothing more than a case of mass hysteria for those performing the werewolf investigations. The judge would then provide Hans a countless number of instances to admit his innocence to allow him to go free. first opening the court by asking Hans the direct question if he was a werewolf. Without any provocation or intimidation, Hans admitted to being a werewolf with no hesitation, even going as far as claiming that he'd been bitten by a werewolf man 2 years prior and became infected by the curse. In an effort to save the young man's life, the judge asked him if Hans still felt like a man, to which Hans immediately replied that he felt like a wild beast. With one last attempt to save Hans' life, the judge then asked Hans if there was a physical transformation or if this was all in his head, and that this was nothing more than a case of personal insanity. Hans replied to the court that he had evidence of being a werewolf, and showed several large scars from previous claims of defensive strikes the townspeople had made against the werewolf, claiming that he had received them as a werewolf and that the scars stayed in his human form. Shortly after, the trial was finished and Hans was sentenced to death. Other researchers have made the connection that werewolves and the Dogman are the same creature. All across North America are reports of a creature that's been given the name of the Dogman. Those who have encountered the creature have described it as looking like a strange werewolf-like creature, and seems to possess supernatural strength and abilities. Those who have come forward with their encounters have often compared the creature to a more dog-like Sasquatch, whereas others believe it to be more of a werewolf beast and at the centre of skinwalker legends. Interestingly, in the last 60 years there have been many reports about these creatures, and as with most of these tales, the majority of these stories follow a similar theme. Researchers have managed to pinpoint the first Dogman sighting to 1887. This was said to have occurred in Wexford County. The story goes that 2 lumberjacks were having a conversation when one of them spotted something mysterious. He described it as having a man's body and a dog's head. When they noticed it, they quickly left the scene, not wanting to stay and risk getting hurt by the large creature. Fast forward to 1961 and a security guard witnessed something similar in Big Rapids, Michigan. Most of the encounters with these creatures are just stories, and there's no way to back up what the individual saw. However, the security guard remembered that he had his camera, and was in fact able to snap a photograph of the large beast. Those who have analysed it says it matches other eyewitness descriptions of the Dogman. There have been various interesting tracks discovered all over Michigan, some as recently as 2009, which points to the existence of the Dogman. Some of them closely resembled the prints of a dog, but are far larger than those of a normal dog. One of the sightings by a sibling to an official in the government in 2007 described the Dogman as a dark upright wolf, around 6 feet in height, standing next to a dead deer. A print discovered in the area measured around 8 inches across. Today's sightings of the Dogman and reports of this mysterious beast are catching more attention from the mainstream media, and hopefully they may shed some light on the existence of the Dogman. Interestingly, Dogman sightings are still being reported to this day, and are perhaps one of the most cited cryptids. Scientists, skeptics and researchers will claim that these reports are just stories, and that there's no creature out there that matches the description of a Dogman or a werewolf. Others who've encountered them though believe that some unknown creature does exist in certain regions of our planet. Every year a handful of people come forward with their encounters. Usually the eyewitnesses are scared and confused about what happened, and sadly many of these cases are unsolved. So what do you make of this alleged werewolf photograph? And do you believe in the sightings and reports that people have made? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.